Hi, I'm the Paranoid Survivor and brains. Zombies have been a vital part of culture for the last few decades, so much so that they've grown into being stale and a little bit overused in today's media. But who can blame people for trying to portray the apocalypse? It's dark, it offers action, emotions, horror. Really, it's a genre that, if done right, can be extremely in-depth. Not you! So obviously, with how big of an impact zombies have left on our culture, we're going to see people fantasizing and contemplating on whether or not zombies could actually exist. Hell, some people go so far as to devote their life to plan for the impending zombie apocalypse. Not me though. I'm the sane guy with a gas mask. Having said that, are those people insane or are they enlightened? To answer this question, let's look at how zombies work. For those of you who have been living under a rock for the past 50 years, here's the gist of it. Zombies are formed from some kind of a rage virus. It makes people forget who they were, what they did, and think about nothing but devouring human flesh. Yummy. The disease spreads when someone who is a zombie bites someone who isn't a zombie, and the only way to kill is to shoot him in the head, incapacitating the brain. A lot of works have done variations on this though, being able to turn just by dying, being able to kill one just by how you would a normal human, etc, etc. The basics still always remain the same though. The human turns into a killing machine that craves human flesh, and it can be transmitted by a bite. With that definition in mind, could something like that happen? Well, old voodoo priests have apparently been doing this kind of stuff for ages. Fuck science, these guys can make zombies just with a white powder. And it's not cocaine. In the 1980s, Harvard ethnobotanist Wade Davis traveled to Haiti to investigate zombies and the zombie powder. What he found is that there are 5 ingredients that go into the magical powder. Burned and ground up human remains, usually bone, a small tree frog, a polychety segmented worm, a large New World toad, and 1 or more species of pufferfish. The most potent ingredients are the pufferfish, which contain deadly neurotoxin known as tetrodotoxin. And before GLaDOS gets excited, what is the neurotoxin? Well, it's found in different species and is even banned as a food. It causes numbness, tingling, and a not unpleasant sensation of floating, even euphoria. You sure this isn't cocaine? While high levels of it can cause death, some smaller doses can leave a victim in a state of suspended animation. Breathing is subdued and barely perceptible by observers. The heart rate is near zero, but the person remains conscious and aware, though not able to speak. Well, how does this help us make zombies? According to Davis and other observers, a person who is exposed to a certain amount of zombie powder containing tetrodotoxin can slip into a vegetative state resembling death. After the poor guy is buried, a voodoo priest comes along, digs him up and gives him psychoactive compound derived from the Jimson weed. This second drug causes delirium and disorientation, rendering the person incapable of normal functioning. Wow, that's pretty scary. But it's also extremely elaborate and way too hard to do. Plus, we're looking for a disease, and as far as I'm concerned, this is just a really weird overdose. We need to dig deeper. There are certain diseases that could be considered zombification in nature. The mad cow disease that killed over 180,000 cattle was an acutely large problem back in the 80s. Some of the symptoms include an increase in aggression and ataxia. Sound familiar? On top of that, it can be transmitted to humans. It can also be transmitted from a bite, but the problem with it is it's treatable and the incubation period can last up to 8 years. Wow, never thought I was gonna say that's a problem. Well, what about rabies? It shares all the basics, transmitted by bite, causes aggression, craving for flesh, etc. Of course, rabies are lethal to humans, but what if we could do a simple genetic tweak that could create what we call the zombie virus? The rabies virus targets the nervous system, nearly completely engulfing it and destroying it to the point of unrecognizability. Luckily, we can treat it, and the incubation period is around 10 days long. So we would have to find a way to make the virus able to keep people alive even after just a few days, and decrease the incubation period. Dr. Dinman, a microbiologist, stated that this is a highly doable scenario. The main viral property you'd want to change would be to convert it from causing an acute infection, like Ebola, which tends to kill the victims quickly, to persistent infection, like herpes, which stays with you for your entire life. Hell, some conspiracy theorists think that a zombie virus already exists. LQP-79 is a mental virus, bastard child of an attempt to create a mind control substance. This, however, has proven to be a hoax, but you never know. Back to rabies though, scientists have actually confirmed that the incubation period could easily be shortened by an amateur. It could even be reduced to a few hours. Damn, combine that with a more resistant nature to vaccines, and you got yourself a pandemic. Rabies, of course, isn't the only neurotropic virus. Slovnitsky, a leading microbiologist, said, "I suppose you could imagine a new neurotropic virus that would cut off the higher brain function and then include a starvation-like state and could thereby induce the disabled person to go after brains." So how could this happen? Well, perhaps the most likely possibility is the merging of two or more viruses. Viruses work by copying their genetic material within human cells. If there are two viruses in the same cell, one virus may accidentally jump on a genetic copy that belongs to the other virus. Whatever that means, it sounds scary. Does this sound too far-fetched? Well, diseases like influenza have killed millions of people. They come from a simple mutation in the cells, giving the virus an advantage, in a sense that they evolve. So even as we speak, or I speak into a shitty webcam, there could be a small glitch happening in one cell that will ultimately mean humanity's doom. Fuck. Or hey, why are we just looking at viruses? It doesn't have to be a disease. The Last of Us is one of the most successful games of 2013, and earned the second spot in my top 10 post-apocalyptic games of 2013 video. To an untrained eye, this might seem like a ridiculous concept, but the reality behind it is far more disturbing. When a spore of, however the fuck that's pronounced, meets an ant and germinates and spreads through the ant, absorbing soft tissue while leaving vital organs intact. When fungus reaches the autumn of its short life and is ready to sporulate and make way for a new generation, its long, branching fulminates grow into the ant's brain. The fungus produces chemicals that poison the ant's brain and cause it to become a transportation to the fungus, birthing ground and its own hearse. This kind of stuff has been known to wipe out entire colonies, and you can listen a lot more about it in Vsauce's video. But nature doesn't stop there. There's a kind of parasitic wasp, Hymenopemix agrophaga, that turns spiders into slaves. And when spiders bow down, you know you're fucked. The female wasp paralyzes the spider with a sting and then lays her egg on its abdomen. A few weeks later, the larva is ready to move on to the next stage of its life cycle and injects the spider with a chemical that alters its behavior. The spider then proceeds to create weird, fucked up webs that can't do shit. The jewel wasp works on a similar basis, except with cockroaches, and another asshole known as the Glyphantilides does the same shit with larvas. Yeah, fuck wasps anyways, they're like asshole bees. But the scariness of nature doesn't stop there. Countless parasites exist creating similar symptoms, including tongue biters, Leucodium paradoxum, parasitic hairworms, Toxoplasm gondii, etc. God, I'm butchering these names. All of these have similarities with the zombie virus, and there's no reason they couldn't hop back to humans. So we have concluded that yes, it's possible to create a zombie virus. Terrifyingly so, it's not too likely, but it is possible. But how easy is it to spread them? Well, thankfully, it's not as easy as it may seem. Governments have laws and regulations on how to act if an epidemic arises, zombie or not, and with transmission as simple as a bite, it would be extremely easy to stop it from spreading. Things like quarantines and precautions would be put into place. Sure, every now and then we get a worldwide pandemic, like the swine flu, but remember that in most cases this doesn't spread by air. And with how connected our world is, it may seem as if it's easy to spread a pandemic, but governments have entire protocols on the situation, and the UN would definitely remain active throughout the crisis. Fuck, the CDC Center for Disease Control actually has a zombie preparedness campaign, and it's not a joke. So organizations like WHO, the World Health Organization, and CDC would most likely handle it. This all depends on how fast we find out what's happening though, so there's always a chance that if the disease is just right and we're just stupid enough. We can't know what the future brings us, but as I've been trying to explain throughout this whole video, zombies could theoretically happen. Throughout various natural dangers, viruses, and man-made substances, we could achieve zombification, and given the right circumstances, an epidemic. And even if it doesn't spread through the whole world, a highly infectious disease could destroy one or more land masses, giving a great blow to humanity. It all depends on human error and preparedness, which we don't have a lot of. However, I think that right now a more plausible end of the world scenario would be an all-out nuclear war. But who knows? And I don't mean the World Health Organization. This may be able to happen. Hell, all that takes is a bored person with a small amount of funding to pull it off. It could be any of the 1% that live meaningless, boring lives. It could be any of the mad scientists that just want to test out a hypothesis. It could be me. Or maybe, just possibly, it will be you. Thanks for watching. This is a new kind of videos I'm trying out, so tell me what you think. And if you like it, please like it. It took me a long time to gather this information, so any response would be appreciated. If you like the apocalypse, me, or my shit content, subscribe. I also stream on Twitch, which is a hella fun, and you can check that out in the description. And I write for a site called Overlord Gaming, which is also in the description. All in all, tell me if you liked and if you want more videos like this. And I love you all. Peace. Survivor salute.